try, baby. I know you can, I know your heart, and you will figure out you love me now, 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 you know I gotta leave. You love me now, 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 now.
I'm starting my journey this morning and my exploration from the Angel Inn. It looks like the Heen Inn there at the moment of the sign off in Heytesbury in Wiltshire, and we're heading to a hill fort right on the very edge of the Salisbury Plain. So it'll be a fantastic thing to see, and it's a little visited place these days, and there's some interesting bits around there, I'm sure. So that's where we're going to go. I'll put up the WhatsApp location. The interesting thing about this place is it was used by Richard Colt Hoare and William Cunnington in the 1800s. They used to plan all their excavations from this pub. Richard would stay in here and they planned their excavations from the pub. So I'll put up on the what 3 words and we'll go on from here. And so this is where I start my walk. But it's always interesting what you see, and it feels like spring's on the way, so it's quite nice. Always amazes me to see how a road reverts back over a period of time. You can see all this moss and everything creeping in here, and various other bits when a road closes, but just notice this up here as I'm on my way. Point of interest, might as well have a look at it while we're on our way. And there's a milestone there in cast iron by the looks of it. It says Salisbury 17, Warminster 4. All part of the fun of the area. Walking along the bridle path which leads up to the area where I want to go, which is sort of like part of the Wessex Range path, and it's just nice to be out this morning. They said the weather would be fine and it's raining. You can't have it always, can you? But it is a really interesting thing that we're going to go and see. You can see it says no access for civilian vehicles, but we are allowed to walk the path along here, and it forms part of the Wessex Ridgeway and the Wessex Range path, and it's just a nice walk, even on a rainy morning like this morning. Starting off in Heytesbury as we did, then coming up here is lovely. And just if you stand here and just scan around, you can see Nook Camp there with the army vehicles, and the valley here, which is lovely, and a place for ancient man all around this area. Incredible. So let's carry on. Well, I'm walking up this steep road from Nook Camp. You may wonder why it's all concreted, and that's so as the tanks don't cause too much damage or get bogged in. But it's just nice to be out. It's lovely. I'm looking forward to actually getting to this hill fort in quite a significant area, and it's nice to be out on the range path in this weather because it's so quiet, nobody around at the moment. One interesting thing on the walk is you come across things like this, these cabins that are cut into little shelters, or I should say containers that cut into little shelters, and just over there you can see they've got a trench that they obviously use for training, and razor wire all the way around that, and another banked area there, more razor wire all the way over there, and various bits. We were looking at it and I mentioned about the razor wire, and there's also a sign on there that says danger razor wire. Interesting. You can see the true expanse of Salisbury Plain here. See a few army vehicles there in the distance. going across, and we're going to head on this way here, and the plain goes all over the other way as well, over to the right from here, so we'll carry on down this way. Well, it was possible for me to actually have taken a road up to here and done it quite legally, but I just thought it was nice to walk and experience the plain a lot more. And this Hillfort was dug by Cunnington and Colt Hoare, and it's called Nook Castle, so a very dynamic name for it. And it's one of the smaller, less visited hill forts, only a couple of acres or so. Well, as I arrive at the hill fort, I put up a LiDAR picture there. There was some old settlements over to one side of here, which I'll put on, and we're going to go down into the hill fort in a minute. Just looking over to there was a settlement there by that farm, and also over to the left where we first looked. So we're going to go on into the hill fort now, and looking at the molehills. Wessex Archaeology will be interested in those because of all the flints and everything that you can see within them, but I'll obviously leave them alone, and then walk towards the hill fort over the first ditch, which formed part of an old settlement. So I'm walking down the ditch up the other side. It's only a couple of meters, it's not very deep at all, and now heading towards the area of the hill fort. And here we are at the hill fort, and you can see straight away the banks, and just scanning around there you can see the expanse of it, and the gateway there that actually would have led into the hill fort itself. So that would have been the original gateway that you can see just here. So that's the gateway, and just looking around a bit you can see all the sheep there. Don't want to disturb those in any way. And across Salisbury Plain, and Long Barrow was to one side of that there, and that's where they found the gold working stones at Long Barrow in the distance there on the arrow. And just having a little look around, all the sheep very interested, and I'll carry on up this way now. And the Romans could have used it, and the Saxons as well, so we don't really know too much about that, but there have been some finds in the area that would suggest that that was the case, but in Long Barrows at Upton Level, and that's the record of what Richard found there. And then we'll carry on and have a little look around the ramparted area and see what we think of here. And it's quite significant, although you don't realise it at the time when you're walking around. You can see all these various things, and it makes you realise how it may have been more significant than we like to think it was. And I believe it probably was a hill fort being in between the two communities that was used for warring of sorts, perhaps. Who knows? None of us know, but it's nice to have a little think about that, and just to wonder whether that is the case. So just put the image on there of the LiDAR again, and we're going up on the rampart, and then we'll have a little scan around of the area itself, and then I will leave the fort, I think. But let's have a little look around at the area, and that's the area there, 2 something acres it is of the hill fort. Great. Well, of course, left the hill fort, and I'm protected from the wind behind these trees here, just over to one side of me. And it is nice to see that hill fort. It's nice to know that it dates back to the Iron Age, as with all these hill forts. And we've got so many options of looking at them. And we can only guess really what went on in them. Nobody accurately 100% knows. That was a gun in the distance. Amazing, isn't it? So this is right on the edge of the Salisbury Plain, and a bit of a war zone really, because they're training all the time for what's perhaps going to happen one day, which we don't want to happen. We're the lucky ones. We haven't got to face all of this, and they have. So picking my way around the puddles as I'm talking, we'll carry on and see what else we can find that's quite interesting. And I'm sure there will be other bits. Although this hill fort is interesting, it's one off of my list. And just on the horizon there, within the range, so I can't go to it, is Long Barrow. And an interesting thing about the Long Barrows up here are that Richard Colt Hoare and Cunnington, Richard used to leave coins in there to show that he dug. And I never knew that before, so that's a very interesting point. I'll put a little picture up of those as well. So I'm going to leave Salisbury Plain now and head back towards Heytesbury. I hope you've enjoyed coming along with me on my little walk through history, and that you'll come and visit this sometime as well. So until the next time, goodbye.